I've been having issues with my motor for my sailboat. The temperature gauge keeps going off, so I should say the alarm keeps going off. And my motor is a Volvo Penta 2000 diesel series. Um, I researched a couple of different things that I should say more than a couple of things that can cause the temperature to overheat. The one thing I talked to mechanic is the exhaust elbow. I've had this sailboat for about 2 years and I've never changed exhaust elbow. They recommend like 3 to 4 years, and I'm betting the exhaust elbow that I have on here probably hasn't been changed for quite some time because I looked at it and it looks pretty much original. So I'm going to try to attempt to remove it and replace the exhaust elbow, and hopefully that will fix the problem. So this is the exhaust elbow right here. It allows water to, the water goes through from the seacock, goes through the motor, and then comes out here, and then goes out through the out and into the exhaust. So, like I said, these should be replaced. But what happens is the inside gets corroded, and it blocks the passageway for the water to get out. So all the hot water actually stays in, and actually, if you don't replace it, actually can get back into in your block and seize the engine. So, anyways, a couple things you're gonna need to remove is just basic, obviously the clamps here. Loosen those, and there's 4 bolts here, and then there's the intake right there that I'll have to remove also to lift this up and examine it. What I recommend you do first is remove the clamps, and then remove the exhaust pipe here first, is because it's going to be really tight. It's going to be seized on there. So because if you remove the bolts here first and then take this out, it's going to be difficult to remove this because you need something If this is stationary, you can use kind of torque and move the pipes back and forth, back and forth. But if you take this out, you won't have a lot of torque to move it around. So I was able to remove the exhaust elbow from the motor. So this is what it looks like right there. I actually have already taken it out and scrape off some of the rust, so it actually look worse than this. And then of course it's connected to the motor right here. This is where the exhaust comes out, and then this is where the water comes in from the motor and out through the exhaust and then out through the pipe. And the hardest part was actually taking this pipe off the exhaust elbow. So like I said, take the bracket off first and then take this off, versus taking the exhaust elbow off first and then trying to pull it off of here. Because like I said, if you keep the bolt on there, there's more leverage for you to wiggle the pipes around to pull it out. So it's much easier. And let me show you a comparison of the old and the new. So there's the old, there's the new. So the old one is made out of cast iron, and the one I bought is actually made of aluminum. So aluminum is going to be more resistant to salt water, so it should last a little bit longer. And also, actually, it was cheaper. This was around $250, and this is actually around $400. And then here, let me show you. And then I did see how bad the clog was. I poured water in the holes are here, here, and here. Water did come out, but it didn't seem as strong as this one. And I did put water in this one. It came out a lot stronger. And this is actually the gasket right here that should go right here, where it wasn't even on the motor when I took it off. So I don't know I'm pretty sure that all these residue right there, that was somehow it's embedded with the old gasket. Okay, so I scraped all that old residue off as much as I could. You can't really sand it because you can see pitted, but it's like sticking up. So you can't sand it. So I just took a little small screwdriver and try to scrape the best I could. And then I vacuum up everything, making sure there's no dust, and I actually vacuum in there too because there was some stuff fell in there. So clean up. Now I'm gonna put the elbow back. So I should explain how this works, right? The water comes into here, fills up the chambers around here, and then it goes out to exhaust. You see those two holes or two openings on the sides. That's where the water comes out, but the center is the exhaust. The exhaust goes in here, so no water should be getting in here. Water is only coming into here and then filling up the chambers, like I said. On mine, I actually have a cover that goes on here. I took it out from the old one. Let me show you what that looks like. So basic, it's this right here. So this goes into here. This goes on top of it, and then this will screw in here, so it'll hold it up. So here actually, so it goes like this, like that. When I put the screw in. All right. I'm actually gonna put some of this white lithium grease onto the exhaust elbow, which this part goes onto the rubber pipe. That way it'll be easier to take on and off in the future. So I got the lithium grease on there. It looks like it's a lot, but it's actually not. They're really thin film. So I'll put that into there, and then I'll bolt it on. Okay, so I put it on, and then I tighten the brackets, whatever you want to call these. Um, it was putting it on was much easier than taking it off, so it just slid right in. All right, so now I'm gonna I put the gasket on, or I will, and then the bolts. So I got some new bolts. The other ones I took out were kind of rusted out. I got some stainless steel ones instead. So hopefully that will be better. So yeah, we'll put them in. Okay, so I figured why that was like it had those pits in there. So I actually did some more scraping. That came up. So this is the center of the gasket because I just looked at the new gasket, and this is actually some type of alloy. Um, so this is the new gasket. And if you look at the center, let's see. I'm not sure you can see. You see that there? So that does have some type of alloy in the middle. So I'm going to scrape off some more of this now before I put that back on. Alright, so I scraped all that up. It was pretty hard. I actually had to use a screwdriver to scrape all that stuff up. And then I sanded down a little bit. So 1,000 times better than before. So what I'm doing is I'm actually going to put like a thin layer of thermal grease on there. That way the gasket doesn't stick on there like next time like it did. So how this connects to that, it goes, obviously just goes in male, female. And then it has this bracket here, which same thing as on the side. It screws on in here, and the hose goes in there, and this part holds in the hose, and it pulls it in so it stays tight. So once I put these brackets into there, and then I'll connect the that hose, and then I'll connect that. after I changed the exhaust elbow, the water is actually running really well. It's a lot better than the outflow from before. So I'm guessing that would work. So I'm actually going to run it for another 15-20 minutes, see if my temperature alarm is going to go off or not. So as you can see, after replacing exhaust elbow, the water flew actually really good, better than before with the corroded old exhaust elbow. But I still ran the motor for about a half an hour or so, and gave it throttle. The overheat alarm did go off. So there's going to be some other issues with it other than just the exhaust elbow. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fully go through the whole system to see where the problem is. So checking the thermostat, the coolant, all the lines from the outside of the boat into the motor, and then all the lines that goes through the motor and out. So I'm going to do all that stuff to figure out where exactly the cause is that's causing the motor to overheat.